Today's conversation is with someone who turned a personal setback into a mission-driven company. When Victoria was just 14, she witnessed her family's technology company collapse almost overnight because they missed a critical market shift. Fast forward, she is now the founder and CEO of Octrace.ai, a company helping enterprises pivot before the market pivots on them. With 5 of Europe's top banks already on board and an ambitious push into the US market, Victoria is on a mission to democratize market intelligence in a way that could change how businesses survive and thrive. Before we do that, a brief message from the sponsor. This message is brought to you by Growth Rubric. At Growth Rubric, we help B2B tech companies who are struggling with inconsistent or no sales pipeline so they can finally have a predictable deal flow engine for their next phase of growth. Most of the time, our clients come to us frustrated because they want to get to the next phase of growth, and founder-led sales are not scalable. With the right strategy and support, they're able to generate consistent revenue by building their deal flow engine. If that sounds like you or someone you know, just connect with me on LinkedIn. Go ahead, Victoria. Introduce yourself and Octrace.
Hi, thank you for the great introduction. Viktoria Zebska, I'm the founder of Octrace.
Could you introduce yourself and the company?
Yes, for sure. We've tapped into my story a bit. My story started with the family business collapsing. We had $1 billion company, which basically through market shifts went bankrupt overnight. And since then, I've made it my personal mission to predict market shifts, to see patterns within markets and signal combinations, and based on that, see how companies develop, to help companies go from reactive market decisions to proactively tapping into new industries and markets. My story started at 14. I continued my finance world journey. I built a fintech when I was 17, and afterwards went to a fund, 9 billion under management. Worked there in the sales department, started building up relationships with banks, and got asked to become supervisory board member there, and had a pivotal point at this time where I said, I want to continue to build. I want to continue to get into the entrepreneurial world. And so that's why I founded Octrace. Simultaneously, my CTO, who was previously building a social media giant, and before that was one of the highly gifted students at high school, worked together with unicorn founders from the age of 16. Also had a very similar observation on the market when it comes to time series, when it comes to pattern recognition and proactive market decisions. And so we came together, built Octrace, which now is the backbone within 5 of the 10 biggest European banks. We've generated over 20 million in new revenue for Europe's biggest bank last year. We consistently outperform all other sales tools by at least 6x. With our signal combinations and with the predictive data intelligence, and we're now on the way to commoditize data intelligence as a whole. Currently in San Francisco, we're expanding to the US right now, and are on our growth way there.
Victoria, you're in the forefront of this new AI age that we're living in. We are at that inflection point. So what are some of the trends you're seeing in this space?
Yes, very interesting topic. The trends that I see, of course, go hand in hand with more people start to build. Building software, and especially got, I won't say a commodity, but it got way easier to build software with Lovable, with Cursor. So since it's easier to build, it's harder to get a real moat within the business. And the conversations I'm having with AI leaders right now, what are strong moats within the business? And the answer is always, it starts with distribution. How do you get to the customer? How do you deliver the software that is now easier than ever to build to your customer? And what we've seen is that distribution and the fast pace of building new softwares also led to more and more companies needing to adapt to market shifts faster than ever. We're at an all-time high, unfortunately, in bankruptcies right now because companies are not able to adapt fast enough to the market. And the solutions that are currently offered on the market are, I like to say, bottom-up approaches, meaning databases, cold databases, offer you leads, offer you cold data, and basically tell you, choose your filters and triggers, and see where it goes and react. And in 6 to 12 months, you'll see if the target group's gonna work out or not. The problem with that strategy is in 6 to 12 months, you're gonna be dead as a company. So you have to react now, and you have to proactively decide on which company will need you in 6 to 12 months. And that's exactly the gap that Octrace is closing. So what we're doing is we're finding out signal combinations based on structured, but also especially unstructured data. And based on those signal combinations, we are then able to trace forward what a company will do within the next 6 to 12 months. Giving a very clear example, we can trace if a company will soon switch from being family owned to management led, because the patterns that the companies go through before having such a pivot are the same every single time. And that data gives our customers an enormous competitive edge, because based on that, they're then able to enter this company at the point where the company is most receptive to their product. And this is the critical point for all of our customers, constantly outperforming every single other lead generation tool. That's why I'm very, very confident that when it comes to data aggregation, the past was cold data. The new way of aggregating data and market intelligence is predictive intelligence.
Where is this
Yes.
unstructured data and signal intelligence is coming from?
We basically have three main sources of where we gather our data. The first one is all the financial information. Especially in Europe, it's easier. I wouldn't say easy, but easier to get a balance sheet data, financial data. So we look at the CapEx, we look at the CAGRs, we look at their general revenue trends. Based on that, we are able to see financial patterns within their system. However, they always have to publish it, and we get to see it 1 year later. So that means we are able to only track the historic data, the past data. So we use that for trends, and we use that for trends going back to even 7 years of the company. Then the second thing is we take a look at the job market data. So what developers are they currently hiring, and going in deeper into the job descriptions, what tech stack are they currently using? What software are they currently using? Are they currently hiring new salespeople that are about to get a company car, etc.? So all those like micro informations that we gather about a company to have a full profile of it. And then the third one is, I like to call it unstructured data. So meaning, how does the company position itself? What blogs are they currently posting? Are they switching up their website, for example? And based on that, we're able to build a holistic profile of each company and then trace forward what the next moves will be and what the patterns, the reoccurring patterns are that are currently happening within their industry. Imagine it like this. A company up until now had to go to a data tool and then reactively decide and test A, B, C, D until Z campaigns, basically, on which filters they should use and what target groups they should attack. And a certain bias happened within that companies tended to go to signals that were used very frequently and that were very obvious. And the natural resolution of that was that companies had lower and lower and lower conversion rates. So many completely gave up on outbound and started only to rely on recommendations, which is the worst thing that can happen to a company, because if they only rely on recommendations, they're going to be reactive to the market. We want them to be proactive to the market, because growth has to be proactive, a proactive decision. So the shift that we took, completely contrary to the whole data aggregation market so far, is by only taking in the domain of the company and then analyzing what target group are they attracting with their current presence, with their current online presence. What markets is their competition selling to? And what micro signals within their CRM systems are happening right now that the company needs to be aware of. So we only get the domain of the company, and based on that, we are able to tell them proactively which industries they should go on a daily basis.
This is amazing. I would say all the companies should be watching their job descriptions very carefully, because Octrace is coming for them. This is amazing. I mean, the signals that you're able to aggregate and present in a meaningful manner totally changes the way the sales machine is run today. And so this is amazing. So what are some of your customer transformations that you have undertaken for your clients? Give us a flavor, an inside look as to how it has panned out so far.
We started the podcast off with my personal story. My family's business going bankrupt because they didn't see market shifts coming. Last year, a company of ours, a car manufacturing supplier, came to us and said, we're currently selling to the automotive industry. The automotive industry, especially in Germany right now, is on an all-time low. So it wasn't a hard thing for our software to detect this industry is going to die. The hard thing is, where should they pivot? So what we did is we let our software run on all their competition and saw where their competition was pivoting to, and what industries are currently growing in general, being fostered with grants, with financial injections, etc. And so what we did is we pivoted them to the shipping industry, which was very unconventional, but they trusted us so much because they worked with us for the past year that they said, let's do it. Let's sell let's sell to the shipping industry. Last week, I heard that the half of the car automotive suppliers went bankrupt. The company that worked with us is now one of the market leaders because they pivoted to the shipping industry. And that was one of the most fulfilling moments I had as an entrepreneur, because that was the whole reason why I started Octrace. And I I see that if Octrace would have existed before, and if Octrace would have existed before my family's company went bankrupt, we would have prevented that bankruptcy.
That's an
And
amazing story.
yes, that was a very personal story for me as well. And on the flip side, we were able to generate 3x as much revenue as the department that we've worked with before at the bank. So 20 million before they generated 6 million at the department of the biggest bank of Europe. So that was also an enormous win for our team. We were able to outperform every single other lead generation tool when it comes to conversion rate accuracy and prediction accuracy. And we've been able to build a pipeline that tracks micro signals and macro shifts.
I guess you answered my next question, which I was trying to get to was like, okay, now you have so many players in this market and the time to market has shrunk, going to market in a few months, which earlier would have taken a few years. And so, like, how did you differentiate as a product?
Our differentiation is the top-down approach instead of the bottom-up approach. So meaning conventional tools, say Clay, Polo, 6sense, currently giving you a cold database and telling you to react to the market. What we're doing is the only thing that we need from you is your website. And based on that, we can gather all the data automatically and proactively tell you into which markets you should sell to and proactively predict who will need you within the next 6 months. And this is our competitive edge.
And so you're taking the company's website and translating that into useful information, but also I'm assuming that you're taking other market signals that you already have access to and then combining that and giving them a single pane of glass view of, what they should be doing.
Yes, exactly. So additionally to us proactively telling them and reassuring them that the market that they're currently selling to is growing and that their conversion rates are going very well, we're also enormously hiring the effectiveness of their sales team and targeting of the companies that they're currently attacking with their sales team. So we're basically saving resources, but also the main part is we're giving them way more upside within the generation of their revenue.
So what was one mistake that you made sort of early on when you were building Octrace, and like what did you learn from that?
The number one mistake that costed me hundreds and hundreds of thousands of euros or dollars was that we have focused on the same bottom-up approach at first. So the way that we tackled it was we went into the market and we started talking to over 5,000 companies for them to tell us their target group. So we had a very similar approach like Palantir, with the developer first going out, talking to customers and asking them for the target group. The insight that we got from that is that around 70% of the 5,000 companies that we talked to told us an enormously similar or even the same target group. Mid-market, in that size, with the signals just close the funding round, just got a great catch event, maybe a management change, all of that. And that mirrored us the current data situation in the market. However, we were so strongly consistent and thought, okay, if we continue talking to the customers, then we automate all the signals that they want. This is going to be the solution. In that case, it wasn't. We completely threw it out. We stopped the algorithm because we didn't outperform the market on a level where we thought we could get with the software. And we started building up the algorithm solely on external behavioral data. And that was the click. We completely forgot what the customers told us about their target group and started proactively telling them, let's look at this target group. Your competitors are currently selling to this market and outperforming you. Maybe that's and this is the reason. So we solemnly started concentrating on external behavioral data, and that was the click. We outperformed the self-reported customer data by X because we started to see the market as a holistic organism and not all the target groups with the bias of their customers. Companies consider their own blind spots, and that's why they will never be able to set the right parameters for the right target group identification and will always be a step behind. The new mold of companies, now that it's easier to build than ever, will be distribution. Every day that a company is selling to a customer that doesn't need them is a waste of the day and is getting him 10 days behind of their competition. So we're giving them access to outpacing the competition by predictive intelligence.
As you've sort of gained early momentum, which sort of GTM channels benefited you the most at Octrace, and like what suggestions would you give to young entrepreneurs?
Yes, I am a strong recommender of all outbound cold calling. We've built all of our revenue by cold calling. So that was our strongest outbound motion. Additionally, we've done events, we've done email campaigns. However, the constantly outperforming go-to-market channel is just taking the phone, picking up the phone and calling the customers, getting to the right decision maker, pre-qualifying them, getting them on a closer call and closing them. And this is how we've built our pipeline.
And so where can your customers find your company if they want to reach out?
Yes, feel free to go to Octrace.ai. And if you watch the podcast, feel free to message me as well directly, Viktoria with a K at Octrace.ai. I will be responding to every single email. I'm very happy to hear from you.